Hello, hello. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Barnhart. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. So, I was born in the year 1995. It's 25 years ago. Gee, time flies. And over the course of my 25 years alive here, I've been called many things, and one of the things I'm called pretty often is Millennial. And it's not usually a good thing. I'm not necessarily going to go into detail as to why that is. That's not really the point of this video. Actually, yeah, that is the point of the video. But I'm going to do it differently than what you hear normally. Like, at least I'm going to try, right? That's what you're here for. For one, the tools we have are incredibly new, and we're not really sure how to use them. And by we, I mean pretty much everybody, because they're so revolutionary, man. They're really changing things. Not only the tools that we have, but also the culture, the times we live in are so different. We are in many ways very different from the people that came before us. Better ways, obviously, and then other ways, I don't know. I can only speak for the people that live around me, by the way. The rest of the world, like, I don't really know. Time will tell, I guess. Pretty sure it's safe to say that we live in the future now. You know those times, hello there. Imagine if you had a group of people and a piece of land, and these people built a city. They built their houses, they built the roads, they built what they needed to survive, and then they had kids, and then they passed it on because naturally they all died. The kids inherit this beautiful city. They don't necessarily have to build houses, they don't necessarily have to build roads, but they do other things, you know, maybe they build TVs, I don't know, like, you know, they keep going forward. At a certain point, it feels like everything is built. Everything we have, we already have it. And so it's kind of like we have nothing to do because what we needed to do to keep, every generation that would come after the previous generation in this city would be better off than the generation that came before it, right? Because they would have more and more things, you would hope, right? Because the whole idea is that you leave the place better than when you came. At least that's the philosophy. How much we put into practice, whatever. Right now, it feels like everything's been done. Electricity was invented. There's a lot of crazy cool movies out there. All kinds of clothings have been worn. You know, like, a lot of people say there is no such thing as an original thought anymore. And I really hope that's wrong. Gosh, I hope that's wrong. But the point is that that's really discouraging, man. That's the attitude we grew up with, right? Because there's so much around us, man. We don't have to be creative anymore. Everything's been created. So it's like, what do we do with our time? We enjoy what's been created. We enjoy the good food, we enjoy the toys, we enjoy the entertainment, we occupy ourselves. We live in a time of pleasures built by others. You know, I'm not really sure if we're actually in the future yet, you know, because I feel like there's a lot of technologies out there that we don't necessarily know about yet, right? I feel more like we're in the space between the past and the future. We're like the midway. We're the transition generation, maybe, I don't know. We also live in a time where everything has been built like very mechanically by machines, and all humans do right now is pull levers and stuff like that, I guess. Like, nothing is handmade. A lot less things are handmade, right? You can say this about furniture, you can say this about food, you can even say it about music. And when you have something handmade, you have something made with love and passion and hard work and sweat, and, you know, something made by an artisan, an artist. The things we eat are made by machines, the things we wear are made by machines, you know, because it's obviously cheaper, right? Does that make us cheap people? Like, are we turning into a cheap generation of knockoffs and wannabes and all that garbage? Cheaper in many ways, cheaper in cost, cheaper in value, you know, like things made, you know, 100 years ago are made to last. They're hard, like the furniture, you know, you find beautiful pieces of furniture built with passion and they're still usable compared to furniture today, which is almost made to break, you know? And so all these broken things, you know, we're so used to garbage as a generation, you know, oh man, it's sad. This is definitely going to be a heavier video, but it's a really important conversation to have, I think. Anyhow, as I was saying, because of all this industrial garbage that we're drowning in right now as a generation, I feel like we're almost too used to things breaking. You know, we're too used to cheapness. And this doesn't just go for like furniture and clothing and cars, but it also goes for like families, you know, like people whose moms and dads don't talk, you know, makes for holidays that are very complicated for kids because it's like whose houses do you spend time with, and like X's and O's and all that garbage. You know, and it's hard to blame us too, right? Because we didn't put ourselves in this situation. We were created after all, right? And you're a product of your creator. And let me tell you, the apple didn't fall far from the tree, baby. And this is by no means me bashing the previous generations or the parents of us kids, right? Because like, if you start blaming parents, then you can start blaming the parents of the parents, because, you know, after all, you could keep going all the way to Adam and Eve, you know, for eating the forbidden fruit. Man, this is one bruised apple. One thing too, because of companies like Apple creating smartphones and iPods and all that stuff, generations these days have been glued to screens. We're suffering in terms of our social skills, you know. People these days have a hard time holding a conversation, having a heart-to-heart with strangers, because, I don't know, they're always on edge or something, or they don't know what to say, or they don't know how to dance that way. Yeah. One thing too is that we weren't raised with a lot of hope for the future, right? we're always reminded about how we're killing the planet and how the planet is dying. I just watched a documentary the other night about how the seas are completely swamps now, I guess. It's gross, man, full of garbage. And so we don't really have a hope for the future, you know. We feel like the earth it's the end of the world all the time, every day, which sucks, you know. We weren't raised to hope, you know. Yeah, so we don't really have much hope for the future, you know. Like every day is the end of the world, I guess, for us in some way or another. So we've lost hope. We've lost hope in a lot of things. We could also talk about faith. We don't have much faith in our day, you know. Like nobody really cares about the divine in any way whatsoever. And I think in some ways, because of this, we've kind of lost faith in ourselves by accident. The great philosopher Plato once said that he who fights with faith is duly armed. Humans also need adventure, I think. And right now, there's nowhere else on Earth to explore. Everything's been discovered. There's like a lack of adventure in our generation. I don't know if that's just me, but I guess we got space to look forward to. But like I said, we're not there yet. We're in that midway point. Like, that's what I think we are, a kind of midway generation between the future and the past. So in the meanwhile, we're just waiting. We're bored. We're like, we don't know what to do. And so we're exploring our pleasures and we're after instant gratification, and we don't really care for long term because we don't think there is a long term. That's dangerous. Oh man, I really hope we're not fucked. All in all though, I gotta tell you, life is pretty good. Like, I have great friends, I've got great family, you know, we're not perfect, none of us are perfect, but I still enjoy it, you know, like, good times. What is even a millennial? Like, how do you become a millennial? Like, there's no way that a bunch of people were born all at once and we're like, oh, look at them, they all behave the same. To me, honestly, if you have a Facebook account, if you've been alive during the early 2000s, if you know the song Gangnam Style, then you're a millennial. I really wonder what the future is gonna think of us. Hopefully nice things, because God knows I haven't heard many good things so far about our generation. I don't know. Well, we're here now, so God knows all we can do is make the best of it. For better or for worse. Let's try and do some good, I guess.